For years, Ruth Langsford and Elias Hale were the couple everyone rooted for. On screen, they were electric. Off screen, they were that pair who could turn a grocery trip into a comedy routine. Their warmth, their banter, their chemistry. Effortless. Even after they chose different paths, there was always something. A spark that refused to die quietly. A bond neither of them ever truly walked away from. But recently, everything shifted. Late one evening, long after Raya had settled in with a half-finished cup of tea and the kind of silence that only comes after a long day, her phone rang. It was a number she recognized, someone from Elias's closest circle. The voice on the other end was low, serious, the kind that makes your stomach drop before you even know why. Something had happened, something unexpected. Something that would shake Raya far more deeply than she ever imagined. As the words unfolded, Raya's breath caught. For a moment, she didn't speak, didn't blink. It felt like the air left the room all at once. All she managed to whisper was, "Tell me you're joking, please." But it wasn't a joke. And suddenly, the woman who had spent the last year convincing herself that she was fine, that she was moving on, felt everything come crashing back at once. The memories, the laughter, the love, the complicated, messy, beautiful history that tied her to Elias no matter how much life had changed. That night, she cried harder than she had in years. Not because they were still together, because they weren't, but because she still cared. Because caring never truly stopped, even when the relationship did. Because when you share a life with someone, part of them stays with you, whether you admit it or not. Those close to her said she kept blaming herself, saying she should have noticed something sooner. That Elias always hid how he really felt behind jokes, charm, and that stubborn "I'm totally fine" bravado. And honestly, he always had. It was part of his charm and part of his chaos. And very, very Elias. Over the past couple of years, everyone knew Elias had been pushing himself too hard. Working long hours, juggling commitments, pretending he could outrun exhaustion with caffeine and pure optimism. But apparently, he'd been keeping more to himself than anyone realized. Even his family had been urging him to slow down. And like any self-declared superhero, he insisted he didn't need to. Until recently. Until the moment that changed everything. When Raya learned the truth, she didn't hesitate. She asked to see him. No cameras, no audience, no pretense, just the two of them. And when she walked into that room and saw Elias sitting there, looking far more fragile than she remembered, all the walls she'd built around her heart crumbled instantly. Her eyes filled, her voice cracked, and before she could even finish saying his name, she was already crying. Elias reached for her hand the way he used to. Soft, reassuring, familiar. "I didn't want you to worry. But, yeah, I'm scared too." For a moment, time stopped. The noise faded, the old hurt, the old arguments, the misunderstandings, all of it disappeared. It was just them. Two people who once loved each other fiercely and still cared more deeply than either would admit. Their son, their families, everyone close to them felt the impact too. Suddenly, group chats that had gone quiet were buzzing again. People were checking in, rallying, showing up. Not because of romance, but because of love, the kind that comes from being a family, no matter how unconventional. As for what comes next, Elias has a long stretch of changes ahead of him. Rest, patience, and the kind of discipline he usually tries to avoid with creative excuses. But he's not facing it alone. Raya made sure of that. She told friends she refuses to let him go through anything difficult without support. not as his partner, but as someone whose heart still recognizes his without effort. And maybe that's the real story. Not a crisis, not fear, but connection. The kind you can't erase even when life rewrites everything else. Because some bonds don't break, some stories don't end, and some people, no matter what, remain each other's home.